Y News. A witness to the alleged sale of good conduct time allowance in the Bureau of Corrections reveals that freedom in the new Bilibid prison comes with a price tag. Department of Justice to investigate the alleged GCTA scheme in a separate probe into BuCor controversies. Convicts freed under the GCTA law surrender in some parts of the country. Manila court orders the arrest of Joma Season over the Leyte mass grave. And SSS Kabalikat and DNR Warriors to debut at UNTV Cup Season 8. Good evening. The witness in the alleged GCTA for sale happening in the Bureau has been presented to senators for an inquiry. She said an inmate to be freed through good conduct time allowance will need to pay thousands or up to over 1 million pesos. Vincent Arboleda reports why.
Yolanda Camelon faced Senate last night to testify on the controversies surrounding GCTA. Camelon gave her testimonies on the alleged GCTA for sale scheme happening in the Bureau of Corrections, where an inmate can pay a certain amount to be set free through GCTA. She said some of those managing the existing GCTA process had approached her. She mentioned a certain Major Mabel Bansil, Custodial Officer Sergeant Veronica Buno alias Boday, and the Staff Sergeant Ramoncito Roque alias Chito, whom she believes is a chief of the document section. Camelon said Bansil offered her last February an opportunity to decrease her husband's jail term in exchange for 50,000 pesos. Camelon claimed she gave a down payment of 10,000 pesos and bit by bit paid the remaining price.
So ako po personal na inabot ko po kay Sir Chito yung sobre na may laman na 10,000 pesos. Kung sabi niya sa akin na anong month mo gustong makalaya ang asawa mo.
But when the payment was fully paid, her husband was not freed and remains behind bars until now. The senators then discovered that to avail of GCTA will cost a new Bilibid prison inmate 50,000 pesos to 1.5 million pesos. But according to Senator Panfilo Lacson, they will look for evidence on the alleged sale of GCTA. Lacson says as of the moment, 8 persons have paid 100,000 pesos each. Lacson believes that the sale of GCTA is organized. Former BuCor Chief Nicanor Feldon expresses dismay with what he heard during the hearing.
First time ko narinig yan, sa totoo lang. I'm still crying inside my heart kasi yung preso di mo dapat ginanyan. Pagkakapirahan mo, trabaho mo yan na protektahan sila. Trabaho mo na ayusin yung gobyerno.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue.
The Department of Justice will include the alleged GCTA for sale in their inquiry. The Justice Secretary wants to prioritize the appointment of an officer in charge in BuCor who can handle the controversies inside the agency. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara has no concrete facts yet on the alleged GCTA for sale, but the Secretary will not set this issue aside.
That will be part of the investigation because after we have completed the guidelines or even before that, I intend to conduct an inquiry into what's going on at the BuCor in connection with the GCTA allowances. No?
The Secretary has no statement yet as to the creation of a special committee that will monitor or facilitate the surrender of 1,914 released heinous crime convicts. 13 of the released convicts through GCTA have surrendered in Cebu, Pasay City, and in the Bureau of Corrections. According to the Philippine National Police, the surrenderers will undergo booking procedures before being turned over to BuCor. Free Legal Assistance Group or FLAG, on the other hand, says the government should slow down in their process of rearresting released convicts.
I think the more reasonable procedure is i-review isa-isa. Ngayon, dun sa mga maayos, di tabi mo na yun, tapos na yun. No? Yung sa mga sa tingin nila may problema, dun nila questionin.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Police stations in some parts of the country welcome the surrender of several ex-convicts released through the Good Conduct Time Allowance. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
51-year-old Ramon, not his real name, voluntarily went to Butuan City Police Station 4 this morning. The barangay Bigdaulan resident had been sentenced to life imprisonment for a rape case. He was freed in July through GCTA after serving over 7 years in Agusan del Norte Provincial Jail and 20 years in Davao Penal Colony.
Nagpatala siya dahil willing siya pa rin na bumalik kung kailangan na pabalikin sila sa kulungan.
Siyempre, ni-clearance ko daan sa PNP kasi sumala sa panawagan sa atong presidente. Dili po ko gusto nga akong likalikayan kay imbes na hoog naman ko guilty ko sa sarili.
His release order in hand, Ramon insists his release is legal through GCTA. He said he did not commit any violation while in Davao Penal Colony.
Naipiktuhan lang ko sa anomalya sa kalayaan sa NBP. Wala ko'y kalabutan sa maong anomalya.
While waiting for the court's decision, he works as a carpenter. He reports to the police daily. Not only Ramon but also other ex-convicts from various parts of the country have surrendered to authorities. One of them is a male ex-con who was found guilty of 8 counts of murder and frustrated murder in Cebu, while alias Nick surrendered yesterday to the Pasay City Police. He had been sentenced to life in prison in 1993 for illegal drug use. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency says they are now struggling in capturing and bringing back to jail convicted drug lords who had been released due to GCTA. Playa Ilagan tells us why.
PDEA has no list yet of the nearly 2,000 convicts freed by the Bureau of Corrections because of good conduct time allowance. But PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino believes that convicted drug lords are among of them.
Talagang dismayado ang PDEA at nalulungkot lahat ng hindi lang siguro PDEA, ang law enforcement agencies dahil nga sa tagal-tagal na ng pagpaplano namin para mahuli itong mga drug lords na ito. At para makonvict ay napakahabang panahon at kung gaano kahaba naman ang panahon para makonvict sila, gano'n naman kaiksi kung paano sila nakalaya.
President Rodrigo Duterte has given the freed convicts 15 days to surrender. But Aquino believes that those convicted drug lords will go into hiding and refuse to surrender.
Pwede rin kami mag-aresto kung hindi sila susuko. That's the reason why we are asking also the list from Bureau of Corrections.
Aquino admits drug lords can be caught easily. That's why they spend a long time on investigations, surveillance, entrapment, raid, and operations just to capture them. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Freeing and ordering to surrender the 2,000 ex-convicts sentenced for heinous crimes have been the center of controversies in the country nowadays. A law professor explains a person who committed a grave crime who has turned a leaf must be forgiven. Mai Bermudez will tell us why.
Almost 2,000 individuals sentenced to time in prison for their commission of heinous crimes were released because of Good Conduct Time Allowance or GCTA from October 2013. This based on the list submitted to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee by the Bureau of Corrections. But when can a crime be considered heinous?
And that's basically crimes that are murder with something else, di ba? Rape with something else. Yung may mga combination of different crimes na ano, hindi na yung parang stand-alone na robbery lang, stand-alone na murder, di ba? Or even just pure rape, yung ganyan na ano. Kailangan may dagdag, kaya heinous siya. Karumal-dumal.
Under the Philippine Criminal Code, life imprisonment is the heaviest form of punishment received by an offender who commit a heinous crime. But to reflect the gravity of an offense, there are times when 2, 3, or more life sentences were imposed by the court, like in the case of former Calauan Laguna Mayor Antonio Sanchez, who was sentenced with 7 counts of life imprisonment for rape and murder.
But there's a legal issue of whether a person has to serve can serve more than 40 years for multiple crimes, di ba? Kung marami siyang sentences, multiple sentences, let's say amounting to 200 years, for example, will he serve only 4 years total for all of that? Or ano, ang interpretation ko hindi, di ba? Parang you have to serve all your years, but each of the sentence up to 40 years lang.
Lavinia says our correctional system is reformative and aims to give a chance to anyone to change their life. In 2007, then President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo abolished death penalty. But according to the law, the president has the power to pardon a prisoner even if the crime he committed is heinous.
So, but importante yan sa atin, I support that, kasi importante na kung meron talagang tao, kahit anong karumal-dumal yung ginawa niya, di ba, pero nagbago siya ng gusto. Halimbawa, may mga, nakita natin, no, by the way, yung kay, di ba, Cherry Pikachu ba yun? Yung pumatay sa nanay niya, di ba? Naghingi ng patawad sa kanya, pinatawad niya, di ba? Things like that happen, di ba? So kung makita mo na yung isang tao na kriminal, na murderer, nagbago siya, mabuit siya sa preso, naging pastor siya sa preso, halimbawa, tumutulong siya sa mga kanyang kapwa-prisoners, mga pamilya ng prisoners, nag-reach out siya sa kanyang sinaktan, di ba? Na pamilya siya sinaktan. Ba't hindi mo siya i-forgive, di ba?
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Train services of the Metro Rail Transit Line 3 or MRT3 resumed at 5 p.m. more than 10 hours after it conked out due to power supply issues. The MRT3 suspended its operations at 6:42 a.m. on Friday due to a lack of power supply caused by a cable of its overhead catenary system or OCS that snapped at the Guadalupe station northbound. Hours later, it implemented provisional service from North Avenue Station to Shaw Boulevard, both north and southbound. The MRT3 earlier said there were 7,302 passengers who were affected by the service interruption. It deployed buses to ferry the affected passengers to their destinations along EDSA. The MMDA also provided free rides to accommodate the stranded passengers. Do you need help or information from SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig Fund? Do you need to verify your contributions or memberships? You've got to visit these agencies' info and help desks on Monday at the MOA Arena. Nina Armilio tells us why.
In the name of public service, the UNTV Action Center has partnered with the Social Security System or SSS, the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth, and the Home Development Mutual Fund or Pag-ibig. SSS opens an information desk for questions about benefits and loan privileges. Personnel from Pag-ibig will be ready to help for online verification of loans, contribution, and membership. They will set up an information desk on benefits and loan privileges too. And if you need to verify your contribution and membership, PhilHealth will be there. For applications and issuance of members' data records or MDR and PhilHealth ID. And questions on benefits and other privileges from the agency. Be there on Monday, September 9, beginning 4 p.m. for assistance from the three agencies. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
SSS Kabalikat and DNR Warriors compete for the first time at the UNTV Cup Season 8. They say they've got what it takes to fight and win and give to charity. Victor Cosare tells us why.
In the 8th season of the League of Public Servants, 12 teams have taken the challenge to grab the championship and donate to charity through basketball. 3-time champion AFP Cavaliers, 2-time title holder Judiciary Magis, Season 5 winner PNP Responders, Malacanang PSD Kamao, NHA Builders, GSIS Furies, Ombudsman Graft Busters, PITC Global Traders, DA Food Masters, PhilHealth Plus, and the additions SSS Kabalikat and DNR Warriors.
Basketball lover kami. Isa na yun sa masarap sa pakiramdam na kahit yung edad namin is nasa 30 up na, nakakapaglaro pa kami. At the same time, nakakapaglaro na kami, nakakatulong pa kami sa mga nangangailangan.
Basta kami maglalaro lang ng parehas, malinis, at pipilitin namin sa bawat laro namin na bibigay namin yung best namin.
All teams gear up to win, not just for themselves, but also for their beneficiaries.
Imagine, yung mabibigay ninyong premyo sa amin, may tutulong natin hindi sa amin actually, sa mga magiging beneficiaries.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue.
And thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with William Theo after this quick break. I'm Alex Baltazar. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Alex Baltazar left off. I am William Theo, and here are the headlines. The government hopes the court will release its ruling on the Maguindanao massacre case by November. ACT teachers and Gabriela Women's Party list confront the government's news agency over red tagging. Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group to assist in the MMDA in managing traffic on EDSA starting Monday. Find out what the future plans of Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso for a new Manila. And BMPI talents share the secrets they learned on how to build camaraderie and good image. Good evening. The Duterte administration hopes the court releases its decision on the Maguindanao massacre by November, 10 years after that fateful day. Meanwhile, Secretary Salvador Panelo says there is nothing wrong with the Ampatuan seeking help from him. Rosalie Cos reports why.
The Maguindanao massacre approaches its 10th year. Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar hopes by the third week of November 2019, the court will release its decision on the case. After almost a decade of investigations and court trials on the families of the victims of Maguindanao massacre, particularly the members of Manguna Dato family, 34 journalists and 6 others. Finally, the perpetrators of the worst election-related violence in the country will be brought to justice. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security assures they will remain vigilant to ensure there will be no further delays in the proceedings of the case. Meanwhile, Presidential Spokesperson Salvador Panelo revealed that some relatives of Andal Ampatuan Jr. approached him for help. Ampatuan Jr. is among the primary suspects in the Maguindanao massacre on November 23, 2009. Panelo was one of their defense lawyers. According to the secretary, they also met President Rodrigo Duterte sometime in an event in Davao City. According to a letter from the Appointment Office of President Duterte on July 17, 2019, the Office of the Chief Executive referred the Ampatuan relatives to Panelo. A Malacanang visitor's logbook shows a certain member of the Ampatuan family visited Panelo on August 13, 2019. Panelo said they sought help from his office regarding a relative also being implicated in the Maguindanao massacre but is at large.
Parang humingi sila ng advice kung anong gagawin. Sabi ko, di surrender niyo yung asawa mo. Wala, kasi yun ang hinihingi nila. Kaya humingi kami ng tulong kay Presidente kung anong magandang gawin. Nirefer sila dito ng Presidente sa akin.
And there's nothing wrong with that, sir?
What is wrong with that?
I mean, asking the President.
Everybody seeks help.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Meanwhile, members of Tindig Pilipinas lodged a protest in front of the Department of Justice office in Padre Faura, Manila City this morning. The group calls on Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara to dismiss the sedition complaints against Vice President Leni Robredo and 35 others filed by the PNP-CIDG. The complaints are based on the sworn statement of Peter Jomel Advincula alias Bicoy regarding the alleged Project Sodoma, which aims to destabilize the Duterte administration. Today, the hearing on the complaints resumed. The legal counsels of VP Robredo and other opposition members attended the said hearing, while former Senators Antonio Trillanes IV, Bam Aquino, Samira Gutok, and Senator Risa Ontiveros have filed their counter-affidavit. Members of Free Legal Assistance Group, or FLAG, filed a counter-charge against Advincula and PNP-CIDG officials before the DOJ.
We just filed a complaint affidavit for perjury and use of false testimony in an official proceeding against Colonel Ibay of the CIDG and Peter Advincula alias Bicoy.
For Philippine National Police Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde, it is now time to review the so-called charter between the Department of National Defense and the University of the Philippines signed 30 years ago. April Senedoza tells us why.
Meron ngang reklamo na naman yung UP campus doon sa Laguna, UP Los Baños, yes, na meron daw drug by bus doon at hindi na naman yata sila nasabihan. Well, ang sabi nga natin, no, we want to echo the statement of the CHED chairman na si Sir Popoy Rivera na talagang meron naman talagang mga incidents doon.
According to the PNP, the UP police have no police power to conduct investigations and file cases. The PNP have expressed interest to train the UP police in Camp Crame because of this. Based on data, 1,624 crime incidents have been recorded inside the UP Diliman campus since January 2016. The PNP says the figure includes 186 drug-related offenses and 12 rape cases.
Maliban pa yan sa mga robberies, no? Kaya nakikita natin dito na siguro panahon na talaga para maripaso o ma-review yung tinatawag nilang charter o yung agreement between the UP charter at saka ng Department of National Defense na way back 1989 pa.
For now, the PNP is still in talks with the education sector over plans on the entry of cops and soldiers in UP campuses with the aim to maintain peace and order. In 1989, UP and the DND agreed that cops and soldiers are prohibited from entering UP campuses without permission. April Senedoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Malacanang is ready to welcome home Communist Party of the Philippines or CPP founder Jose Maria Sison in case he decides to come back to the Philippines. This after a Manila Regional Trial Court issued an arrest warrant against him in relation to the Inopacan massacre. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the Office of the President respects the court's decision. The government is one with the families and loved ones of the victims in calling for justice, he adds. According to Malacanang, Sison should face trial and avail of his constitutional right to confront accusers and prepare for his defense. Sison and 37 other members of the CPP-NPA are charged with multiple murder after a mass grave was discovered in Inopacan, Leyte, which contained remains of those massacred by the New People's Army or NPA. 4 policemen from Las Piñas Police Station, 6 may face administrative charges for being caught drinking liquor in public places while on duty this morning. They have been relieved from their post. Mirasol Abugadil reports why.
At around 1:35 a.m. today, PNP Internal Affairs Service NCR Regional Director, Police Brigadier General Jerry Galvan and his team saw Police Corporals Alkin Orguera, Randy Danao, Robemar Abales, and Patrolman Samuel Enoch in a choke point on Zapote Road near Petron Gasoline Station drinking liquor.
Ang napansin po namin kasi yung model nila walang lamang tao. Tapos nagbiblinker. Napansin namin, nagka-crowd sila doon sa likod ng kotse. Bumaba po ako. Pagbaba ko po, nagtakbuhan sila. Nagiinom, ma'am.
The PNP-IAS are now preparing an administrative case against them.
Nagiinom po kasi sila habang nag-duty. Kanda kang becoming of a police officer. Dismissal po yun, ma'am.
The 4 cops have been disarmed. Together with them, their chief of police has been relieved from post. Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
An aesthetic dermatologist warns on the use of beauty products and even the intake of oral glutathione. Let's find out why from Aiko Miguel.
Beauty products in the form of soap, lotion, or anti-aging creams can be bought almost anywhere nowadays. An expert warns the public that one should not buy beauty products which are not tested nor registered with the Food and Drug Administration or FDA. She reminds a product without a safety label can be dangerous to one's health.
Course, and make sure before you try any treatment modality, make sure you are guided by your doctors.
Dr. Portion Kula adds it is not safe to take oral glutathione without consulting a specialist.
At baka may mga underlying sakit po tayo, hindi po tayo basta-basta dapat nagtitake ng anything na oral.
The FDA issued a warning last July explaining the toxic effects of injectable glutathione on the liver, kidney, and nervous system. Seek advice only from a doctor on aesthetic and age management medicine. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
It may be just the beginning of the BMPI talents perform together on stage and build healthy relationships among themselves. They learn the secrets on keeping what they have already and improving even more. Mirasol Abogadil details why.
Despite the continuous growth of their careers in the music industry, Breakthrough and Milestones Production International Incorporated or BMPI talents Rhea Basco, The Wishfuls, Plethora, and Brads admit they still experience problems.
Before, nagkasama-sama kaming sa isang bahay. So, nakita namin yung characteristics ng bawat isa. Positive, negative, o lahat ng flaws nakita namin. And with that, siguro masyado rin kami naging familiar sa isa't isa. So, may mga times talaga na, syempre, parang nagkakainitan.
Dati kasi medyo ilang kaming wishfuls sa ibang kasama namin talents kasi, syempre, mga boys, and kami girls.
Ilan po sa mga problema, dahil magkakapatid kami, meron kami kinalakihan na parang pag-aaway na away bata.
All this, they resolved through a 2-day talent orientation and team building activities last week. They also learned the secrets to developing good relationships.
Marami po kaming natutunan about po sa aming mga dapat gawin sa... Ang una po tinuro sa amin about sa family. Yung communication namin sa isa't isa na mga artists. As a family, dapat kumilos kami as a family, as a whole. Hindi para sa sarili lang.
Importante yung yung malaman mo kung ano yung pagkakakilanlan sa'yo ng ibang tao, lalo na yung mga kasama mo sa trabaho, para you know how to adjust.
Sana lagi nag-uusap para walang natatagong feelings na na meron na palang ganun. So yun lang, communication na siguro. Doon kami nagkakaayos.
Paano pa lumawak yung pag-intindi natin sa kapwa natin, na huwag tayo maging self-centered.
The BMPI talent share, they can apply the things they learned from the orientation not only in becoming a better individual but also in performing at their best.
Siguro pag nagkaroon ulit kami ng trabaho, mas magaang na. Kasi may na-build na relationship sa amin na mas mabilis na.
Mas lalong nakaka-excite mag-perform kasi sana God willing ma-apply namin lahat ng natutunan namin. Kung paano yung magiging image namin, kung paano yung quality na gagawin namin every time na magkakaroon kami ng mga performance.
The BMPI talents were also taught management and content creation for their social media accounts. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
Former drug-dependent turned comedian, actor-director Dinky Doo launches free medical mission together with Members Church of God International or MCGI. Mon Hokson tells us why.
Ambassador of Goodwill, Dinky Doo J. Clarion, collaborates with MCGI to go to regions and provinces to launch public services. MCGI is known globally for their charity works, such as free medical mission, free legal consultation, free education, feeding programs, and free rides among others.
Nakita ko doon sa mission ni Brother Elliot, ni Kuya Daniel, hindi lang physically but spiritually, kailangan tuloy-tuloy yun eh.
Joining the Goodwill Ambassador are his fellows in the movie industry. A small town in Tarlac province will be the first to benefit from the collaboration, also joined in by actress Vivian Velez.
It is, I think, a full medical mission that will be supported by MCGI. I think from dental to optometrist, of course, general medicine.
Miss Vivian Velez had no second thoughts in pursuing the advocacy of doing good works after learning that MCGI, led by Brother Eli Soriano, will be helping them in their medical mission.
Nung araw pa lang talagang nakikinig na ako kay Brother Eli. Gustong-gusto ko siya kasi talagang frank, no? At saka talagang binabasa niya kung ano yung nandun sa Bible. Kumbaga, tamaan ka man or hindi, or nasa ano ka, talagang tatamaan ka, no, pagka wala ka sa totoo at hindi ka sa totoo.
Dinky Doo was bestowed the title by Senator Manny Pacquiao with the blessings from President Rodrigo Duterte. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y-News. Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso has been busy going here and there from cleaning and clearing public roads to catching violators, but the mayor has bigger, better plans for the city. Let's find out what those are from Harleen Delgado.
Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso aims to accomplish more than 50% of his projects this year. One of his plans is making Manila a green city. Under his administration, the Arroceros Forest Park, also known as Manila's last lung, will be expanded. This is part of the 5 Parks Pedestrian Corridor Master Plan, which aims to connect and construct more parks in the heart of the city that will be the Manila Civic Center. A new Manila City Hall will also be established. He also bared his plan to rebuild an environment-friendly Manila Zoo. A vertical housing will be built in areas of Baseco and Valderrama del Pan for the relocation of informal settlers in the city. The mayor is also pushing to boost investments and business growth in Manila to generate jobs, which he believes in effect will lessen criminality incidents.
Dadaling ko ang Makati sa Maynila.
A central business district will also be built in Pandacan to be called Pandacan Greenfield City as a research and technology hub. Although Mayor Dumagoso has a lot of plans in store for Manila, he admits the road to a new Manila would not be easy and may take years.
Ang importante masimulan. Ang importante magpakita ng patotoo. Ang importante ay mangyayari.
A big chunk of the costs from the projects will be sourced from the city government's tax revenues. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Gabriela Women's and ACT Teachers Party List representatives question the fund allocated for the Philippine News Agency or PNA under the Presidential Communications Operations Office's proposed 2020 budget. Joanne Nano details why.
Representatives Franz Castro and Arlene Brosas urged their colleagues in the lower house to strictly review the budget for the PNA. This following reports that link the leftist lawmakers to the issue of red tagging. They claim that these reports are malicious and defamatory. Among these are the alleged kidnapping and recruitment of youth and teaching them how to rebel against the government. As the PCOO defended their proposed budget before the House Committee of Appropriations earlier today, the two lawmakers confronted the PNA officials and asked the PCOO if this is their policy in creating news articles. But the PCOO said there is no truth to the accusations, saying that is not their policy.
Kung ginagamit ang pondo ng gobyerno para sa paninira ng isang progressive organization na nakikita naman yung ginagawa sa Kongreso. So, kasalanan ba ngayon yung maging mag-oppose ka sa ibang mga programa ng gobyerno?
Kasi kung ganito yung klase ng journalism ba, fake news na meron tayo, best po talaga, ilagay na lang natin ito sa mga basic services, lalo na nag-budget cut tayo sa mga basic services. Social services po na kailangan ng mga kababayan natin.
We are just narrating the quotes, the statements of our sources.
The PNA says their communication lines are always open for leftist groups should they want any clarification on their published reports. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group and Metropolitan Manila Development Authority will start working together in a bid to curb traffic woes on EDSA. That's beginning Monday, September 9. April Senedoza explains why.
The MMDA and the PNP-HPG held an orientation today in preparation for managing the flow of vehicles on the busiest road of Metro Manila.
Iti-take over namin yung portion ng EDSA from Timog Avenue to Ortigas, northbound and southbound. So we were given 100 MMDA traffic personnel to support us.
Since many traffic enforcers will be deployed on EDSA, the PNP-HPG assures efforts will be doubled in enforcing traffic rules. The group believes traffic gets worse because of undisciplined bus drivers.
Hindi naman namin pinapangako na dumating ang highway patrol group dyan, umasa kayo, luluwag. Hindi lang naman kasi talaga ang problema natin sa lansangan, sa pagsikip ng daloy ng trapiko, itong mga undisciplined drivers.
Counterintelligence operatives will also be deployed to monitor cops to prevent them from accepting bribes from motorists. April Seredoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
And for the news abroad, French magistrates have dropped charges against Air France and Airbus over a mid-Atlantic plane crash in 2009 that killed all 228 people on board, blaming the pilots for losing control of the plane. Jovic Burmas details why.
10 years after the crash, magistrates in France have dropped charges against Air France and Airbus over a mid-Atlantic plane crash in 2009 that killed all 228 people on board. In their conclusions, the judges said the pilots of the Airbus A330 had failed to process all the warnings and instrument readings provided by the aircraft. The plane plunged into the ocean en route from Rio de Janeiro to Paris after entering an aerodynamic stall and falling from an altitude of 38,000 feet during a storm, its engines running but its wings losing lift. Other crews faced with similar situations had successfully maintained control of their aircraft, their ruling said.
Ce qu'on peut dire, c'est que cette décision ne peut être...
This decision is shocking because investigation was a long one, several years, which clearly showed the number of failings, dysfunction of the aircraft. The file and various expert assessments have clearly showed this.
Des manquements.
The judges overruled the prosecutors investigating the case who had recommended that Air France stand trial over the crash in July. In their 2012 report, French civil accident investigators found the startled crew of A447 mishandled the loss of airspeed readings from sensors, blocked with ice, and pushed the jet into a stall by holding the nose too high. The report also cited poor training and the lack of a clear cockpit display for speed problems. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
A Ukrainian court has released a potentially key witness to the downing of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 that killed all 298 people on board in 2014. Volodymyr Tsemak, 58, was seized this year from a separatist held part of Ukraine. He is reported to have played a key role in the rebels' air defenses. He is reported to be on a list of prisoners that Moscow wants exchanged with Ukrainians it holds in Russia. On 17 July 2014, the aircraft was traveling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when it was hit by a missile over eastern Ukraine. Most of those killed were Dutch citizens. Meanwhile, the death toll from Hurricane Durian in the Bahamas will be staggering, the country's government has warned, as aid efforts are being stepped up. Meanwhile, a survivor in Abaco Islands described the widespread devastation left behind after the highest level Category 5 storm made landfall. Judith Ann Fuente explains why.
U.S. military and border officials joined an international relief effort that was gathering pace on Thursday to help stunned residents of the Bahamas, where the health minister predicted a staggering death toll from Hurricane Durian. U.S. Coast Guard and U.S. Customs and Border Protection helicopters evacuated dozens of critically injured residents. Other countries, international aid organizations, and even cruise lines organized to provide humanitarian assistance. Tens of thousands of people on the islands of Grand Bahama and Abaco need food, water, and medical supplies after Durian pulverized their homes and sent storm waves crashing through communities. Aerial stills of the Abaco Islands in the northern Bahamas, worst hit by the then Category 5 hurricane, showed widespread devastation, with the harbor, shops, and workplaces, a hospital, and airport landing strips damaged or decimated.
My island of Abaco is finished. Everything is gone. No banks, no stores, no nothing. It'll take at least 4 to 5 years to complete only my shop. I don't know how long it'll take for the rest of the island, but nothing is here. Nothing at all. Everything is gone, just bodies.
The death toll from Durian was officially 23, while authorities continued to retrieve and register bodies, Health Minister Duan Sands told local media. But he said the final toll would be far higher.
We're still in the throes of it. Now that the storm has passed, we're beginning to carry out our damage assessments and to see exactly logistically how we're looking. We have teams on the ground already to try and certainly maintain law and order, and to work with our National Emergency Management Agency to ensure that people's basic needs are being met.
The UN World Food Program said on Thursday it was organizing an airlift from Panama of storage units, generators, and prefab offices for 2 logistics hubs, as well as satellite equipment for emergency responders, and that it has bought 8 metric tons of ready-to-eat meals. The UN agency has allocated $5.4 million to a 3-month emergency operation to support 39,000 people. Judith Ann Fuente, UNTV News and Rescue.
Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwe's first post-independence leader, has died at the age of 95. His family had confirmed his death. Mugabe had been receiving treatment in a hospital in Singapore since April. He was ousted in a military coup in 2017 after 37 years in power. His successor, Emerson Mnangagwa, expressed his utmost sadness, calling for Mugabe an icon of liberation. The Loch Ness Monster still remains a mystery, but scientists might have the answer on Scotland's long-fabled creature. Nina Armilio has the details.
After an intensive analysis of traces of DNA in the loch's ice waters, scientists revealed on Thursday that Scotland's fabled Loch Ness Monster could possibly be a giant eel. The results ruled out the presence of large animals such as dinosaurs, but there was a lot of eel DNA in the loch, according to Neil Gemmell, a geneticist from the University of Otago in New Zealand that led the study.
So eels are 4 to 6 foot in length. It's plausible that there might be one or two that grow to extreme size, maybe 50% bigger than normal, maybe even bigger than that.
The international team of scientists took their samples of so-called environmental eDNA in June last year. The use of eDNA sampling is already well established as a tool for monitoring marine life like whales and sharks. Wherever a creature moves through its environment, it leaves behind tiny fragments of DNA from skin, scales, feathers, fur, feces, and urine. European eels are among the creatures in the loch, and whose DNA was picked up by the new research. Juvenile eels, known as elvers, arrive in Scottish rivers and lochs after migrating more than 3,100 miles from the Sargasso Sea near the Bahamas, where the animals spawn and lay eggs. Gamel noted, however, that despite the idea of a giant eel having been around for decades, nobody had ever caught a giant one in the loch.
Nobody's found one. So you have to ask the question, do they actually exist? But there are people who claim they've seen them, but there's no photographic evidence to support that. There's anecdotes.
The most famous picture of Nessie, known as the Sturgeon's photo, was taken in 1934 and showed the head on a long neck emerging from the water. It was revealed 60 years later to have been a hoax that used a sea monster model attached to a toy submarine. The Loch Ness Monster is one of Scotland's oldest and most enduring myths. It inspires books, TV shows and films, and sustains a major tourism industry around its home. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue.
Samsung Electronics launched its first foldable smartphone, the Galaxy Fold, in South Korea on Friday. Shoppers were seen queuing up at Samsung's official store in central Seoul to try to get the new gadget. The world's largest smartphone vendor said the device would be priced at 2,398 million won or $1,977. The device main screen can show up to 3 apps simultaneously, allowing a user to multitask. When it is closed, the display is replicated on an external screen, a feature known as app continuity. The world's largest smartphone maker spent nearly 8 years developing the Galaxy Fold, but had to hold its launch in April after reviewers reported screen problems within days of use. In honor of the 25th anniversary of the Friends series premiere, an immersive pop-up experience debuts in New York City. Let's have a sneak peek in this report.
Calling all fans of Ross, Rachel, Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, and Joey, a new Friends pop-up called The One with the Pop-Up opened in the Big Apple. Fans can explore set recreations, including the Central Perk, props and costumes that have defined 25 years of the Gellers, the Bings, Tribbiani, and Buffet. Fans can also relive a few of the show's most iconic episodes, including the one with all the Thanksgivings, where Monica sticks a turkey on her head. The one with the cop, where Ross pivots with all his might to get his couch out of the stairwell.
Pivot! Pivot! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And sit down on the famed orange couch in a recreation of Central Perk.
We were on a break! You say that one more time, I'm gonna break up with you.
Among the cast who came for the kickoff was Maggie Wheeler, who played Janice, and James Michael Tyler, who played as Gunter.
It's a mystical quality that this show has, that it has endured for so many generations, that it appeals to people of all ages, that younger generations whose experience of daily life is very different from the one that the characters in Friends have, are finding it equally entertaining and watching it over and over and over again. So I think it's just it's a little bit of magic.
I believe it is timeless. The stories, the characters themselves, we can all relate. Any generation can relate to the situations that they were in. Maybe not as comedic as they were, but we all know a Phoebe, we all know a Joey, we all know people who are these characters, and I believe that people can see pieces of themselves in the characters as well.
The pop-up is also filled with Friends memorabilia, like Monica's purple door and Joey and Chandler's foosball table and Barcalounger recliners. The Friends pop-up will be open through October 6. On the series, Janice never had a happy ending with her love Chandler, but after 25 years, does she still have feelings for him?
Forever, honey. My heart belongs to Chandler.
Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this September 6, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant soundbites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
So ako po personal na inabot ko po kay Sir Chito yung sobre na may laman na 10,000 pesos. Kung sabi niya sa akin na anong month mo gustong makalaya ang asawa mo?
Naipiktuhan lang ko sa anomalya sa kalayaan sa NBP. Wala ko'y kalabutan sa maong anomalya.
Parang humingi sila ng advice kung anong gagawin. Sabi ko, di surrender niyo yung asawa mo.
Ang importante masimulan. Ang importante magpakita ng patotoo. Ang importante ay mangyayari.